So hello guys, welcome to EduTap. And guys, one thing that is really important in today's session, the things that we have heard early in the morning is that yes guys, yes, NABARD notification is now out. So you guys are now starting preparing for the NABARD examination. One thing that's very important in the NABARD examination is guys the merit sections. And in the merit sections, we have seen in the previous year paper also that the current affairs play a very important role there. And when I talk about current affairs, the most important source from the current affair is this, that is PIB. So welcome to today's session in which we will be discussing the important topics of 9th and 11th of July. So now guys, without wasting any time, let's start with the questions that are relevant for our phase 1 section of the examinations. The first question that I am asking you is that which among the following metro has been given the award by Asian Book of Records and Indian Book of Records for constructing a longest double-decker viaduct. If I talk about here, the length is being given, that is important. Who has given the award? That is also been mentioned in the question itself. For us now the answer should be that where it will be constructed. The answer here is that is it will be constructing in Nagpur. In Nagpur, the longest metro, that is double-decker viaduct, has basically been constructed. Now for very important thing for you is this distance is very important for you. Now guys, if I talk about this was seen in news on 10th of July. Okay? So as I've discussed, longest double-decker viaduct जो है वो बना है आपका, it has been constructed by Maharashtra Metro Network. ठीक है? Very important thing is this has been recognized by Asia Book of Records and Indian Book of Records that I have discussed in the question itself. Then one important thing is, if an examination goes very in depth, he might ask you कितने metro stations बने, how many metro stations are being conducted here. The answer will be that is 3 metro stations are basically being constructed in this specific route. Coming to the second question of the day, this is again an important question. So guys, it has recently been, data has been shared in PIB. It says that as on 29th of June, there are how many unicorns that have been there in India, and they are valuing around approximately how much US dollar billion. So if I talk about this thing guys, the answer here is that is as on 29th of June, we have 103 unicorns in India. Their approximate valuation is that is 336 billion. Again guys, one thing that I used to tell in my each and every lecture, again I am repeating that thing is, one thing that you guys should do is, before looking at the answer, try to pause the video, attempt the question and then look at the thing whether you know that specific thing or not. So coming to this question, there was an information, there was a thing that is on 9th of July, President has graced this Yuva Sammelan. So this Yuva Sammelan is not that much important, but the information that he has shared in this specific news is very important. That's why when I talk about PIB, it doesn't mean each and every article of PIB needs a very detailed coverage, but there are some articles which in first look might not be appealing to you, that you will not be covering that specific news. Because if you look at this specific heading, you might not be reading that specific news because nothing is being relating in our examination. But when we go in depth of a news, there were two informations that were being very important for our examination. He has shared that as on 29th of June, there are 103 unicorns in India who are valuing around 336 billion. Okay, now here one important thing that has been shared is 1 out of every 10 unicorn are present in India. So I have highlighted the things that are important. Now if I talk about decacrons, unicorn तो we know, then we talk about decacrons. Okay? So when I talk about decacrons, he says that as on May 2022, there are 47 companies in the world. You can see here, 47 companies across world are decacron, but in India there are 4. So this is important for us. Unicorn, there are 103 unicorns in India, but there are only 4 decacrons that are there in India. That is why the information that is being shared by the government as till May 2022. When I talk about the unicorn, so 1 out of every 10 unicorn in the world is being set up in India. So this was the information that was shared in this article by the president. Coming to third question is who has won this Rashtriya Khanij Vikas Puraskar Award during the 6th National Conclave on Mines and Minerals that has taken place in New Delhi. So now see from the question, what you have to remember here is the name of that award. Who is giving this award? Ministry of Mines, because it is a conclave under Ministry of Mines that is taking place. Where it is taking place? It is taking place in New Delhi. Now the question that you have to answer is, which state has won this award? And the answer is, it is Rajasthan. So Rajasthan, guys, it has just been declared a day, just few hours before when I'm recording this session. Just a few hours before, this announcement has been made that Rajasthan has won the Rashtriya Khanij Vikas Puraskar Award during the 6th National Conclave. So we have discussed who has organized this conclave. It is organized by Ministry of Mines. Okay? Now when I talk about this conclave, the important thing is that this conclave is not a new conclave. It is being held every year since 2016. And this is the information that I have shared with you. Now guys, coming to the fourth question of the day. Fourth question is, which among the following place has been recommended by National Monuments Authority, which are related to Dr. Ambedkar, which now will be declared as a monuments of national importance? At which places these monuments are located? The question is getting to that specific places. The answer here is, that is option number D, A and B, that is Vadodara and Satara. Now if I come to this news, so guys, this was the news that was in news on 9th of July. So what it has been shared is, National Monuments Authority basically has highlighted these two monuments. That is Sankalp Bhumi Banyan Tree, which is located in Vadodara. Now why it is important? Because it is a place where Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar has given a speech to eradicate untouchability. So that is a place where this resolution was taken by Dr. Ambedkar. So that's why this monument is important. The second important monument is his primary school, that is Pratap Rao Bhonsle High School, that is in Satara, that is in Maharashtra. So these are the two places which are being now declared as the national monuments of award monuments of national importance. Now see, they can ask you about these two in specific locations also, or they can ask you a question on the places that I have asked you in the question itself. Now guys, coming to the fifth question of the day. This is the most easiest question, and this is a question that we will now be expecting in the examination. Okay, earlier also in RP we were expecting question on Niti Aayog, okay ji, but it was not asked here, but it might be a possibility. It's not that the question cannot be asked. So question can be asked in award examination. The question is, who among the following has been appointed as the CEO of Niti Aayog? And the answer is, that is Parmeshwaran Iyer. So Parmeshwaran Iyer sir has been appointed as the new Chief Executive Officer of Niti Aayog. He has replaced Amitabh Kant. If I talk about Vice Chairman, it is Suman Berry sir who has been appointed as the Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog. He has replaced Rajiv Kumar. And if I talk about Anant Nageshwaran, so he is the Chief Economic Advisor of the government. So all these personalities are important. Suman Berry, Vice Chairman, whom he has replaced. Rajiv Kumar. Amitabh Kant, who was the earlier CEO, has now been replaced by Parmeshwaram Iyer. And Anant Nageshwaran sir is the Chief Economic Advisor of the Union government. So this was the news that is being shared yesterday on 11th of July, that Niti Aayog has welcomed Parmeshwaram Iyer as the Chief Executive Officer. Now guys, next question is something that might be, because this is the thing that is taking place for the first time. That is the reason I have asked this question specifically. See the keyword here. And as I have discussed with you, if anything has taken place for the first time, there is a very high probability that a question will be asked from that specific news. The question is, which expressway will become as the first elevated urban expressway in India, which will be operationalized by 2023. So the question could be asked in other form also. The name of the expressway might be there in the question, and they will be asking a question when it will be operationalized, that is by 2023. So we'll talk about this thing, guys. This is talking about Dwarka Expressway. So recently, yesterday, Nitin Gadkari sir has expressed, he said that the Dwarka Expressway, which will be the first elevated urban expressway in India, will be operationalized by 2023. If I talk about Dwarka Expressway, the important thing here is, it is known as Northern Peripheral Road in its Haryana portion. So Delhi Gurugram basically it provides connectivity. It will also create a boom for the Golden Quadrilateral route from Delhi to Mumbai. But the most important thing is Delhi Gurgaon Expressway is the main thing where this Dwarka Expressway will play a very prominent role. Now, these were the questions that were related to phase 1. Now coming to questions that are related for phase 1 and phase 2. And as the NABARD notification is out, so I have come across the question that is a very important news that is related to agriculture sector, which is relevant both for ESI and ARD. So it can be asked in any of your subject of ESI and ARD. There is a paragraph that is on National Fish Farmers Day. It is talking about the history of National Fish Farmers Day, and it is also talking about the GDP projection of the government. So now let's talk about the first question. The first question is when the National Fish Farmers Day is celebrated. It is a question that could be asked in your ARD section of your paper. Okay, so relevant for both phase 1 and phase 2. When is National Fish Farmers Day celebrated? It is celebrated on 10th of July. So this is very important. Okay, ji, Kisan Divas, Fish Farmers Day. These are kind of days which are now very important for NABARD examination, and you cannot skip this thing. So National Fish Farmers Day is celebrated on 10th of July. If I talk about the news, so this is the 22nd edition of National Fish Farmers Day that has been celebrated here. Okay, that is on 10th of July. Now, coming to the next question. See, if it is talking about Fish Farmers Day, then fish related data is important for us. It has been shared in this specific article, that is what is the rank of India in fish production through aquaculture. So see the similar kind of question we have seen in RBI also, rank of India in fisheries production. It has been asked in RBI. Now here it is a little twist. What is the rank of India's in fish production through aquaculture? This is something that could be asked in NABARD. Little bit in depth. Not only about fisheries production, it is also talking about something in depth of fisheries production, that is aquaculture. So here again the answer is option number A, that is India has been ranked second in fisheries production through aquaculture also. Overall also, India's rank in fisheries production is second. So this is one thing very important for us. That is rank of India in fish production through aquaculture. Now guys, during this article, there were some important information that were being shared. First, I have discussed with you rank of India, that is second in terms of aquaculture. Then there were some posters that were released that are related to fish for motherhood, fish nutrients and their wellness benefits, sustainable fishing practices and state fisheries of India. Then Department of Fisheries has launched along with National Fisheries Development Board lab, they have organized a basically pathogenic microorganism project has been launched. Then National Fisheries Development Board and State Bank of India, they have signed an MOU regarding the FIDF scheme, that is Fisheries Infrastructure Development Fund scheme. The MOU has been signed by State Bank of India. So this is the important information that has been shared in this specific articles. In this article, there was a discussion about the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana scheme, then is FIDF scheme, as I have discussed in this article also, in this news also, and then there was discussion about Blue Revolution scheme. So if these schemes are being asked, this means this scheme is now also very important for us. Based on that, I framed my next question, that is on the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana. So which of the following statements are correct about the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana? Now again, when we see these statement based questions, keywords are important for us that we have to focus on. See, budget outlay period has been given. So these are the three keywords in the first statement: budget, total amount and the period, that is 5 years. Second, fish production 22 million ton, 13.76 million ton by. These are the four keywords that you have to focus on your second statement. And in third statement, these are the two keywords that you have to focus in your third statement. Now look at these keywords and then try to solve the question. Budget is 20,050 crores for 5 years. Fish production will be enhanced to 22 million metric ton from 13.76 million metric ton by 2023-2024. Whether this is right or wrong. Then additional employment will be created to about 55 lakh people. So which among the following statements are correct here? Guys, here only first and three is correct because it is not by 2023-2024, it is by 2024-2025. So these are the minute things. See, when you will be basically bifurcating, looking at the keywords, spotting the keywords, this will help you in solving the question in a very quick manner, as well as you will be able to analyze the things that you have gone through already. You know what you have to do is you just have to focus on that specific thing that you guys have gone through, and you will be able to easily answer that specific question here. Now coming to Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, it was launched in the year 2020. Ministry of Fisheries Animal Husbandry is the implementing ministry here. Now if I talk about the targets here, target here is increasing fish production to 22 million metric ton by 2024-25. That is the thing. See, all thing is same, only this year. यहाँ पे अगर आप focus करते हैं, if you focus here, you can solve this question. Now coming back, ठीक है जी, present target 13.7 million metric ton, that was from 2018-19. Then aquaculture productivity will be enhanced to 5 tons per hectare from 3 tons. Then domestic fish consumption will be increased to 5 kg, from 5 kg to 12 kg. Then guys, contribution of fisheries will be enhanced by 9% by 2024-25. Doubling of the export earnings will be there, that is up to rupees 1 lakh crore. That is again by 2024-2025. Then there will be reduction of post harvest losses will be by 20 to 25%. Now guys, all these data are very important. So if you go through a scheme, we always tell to you, even Diksha ma'am in her session, even I told you in the corner scheme section, the important thing when you talk about the scheme is look at the key targets that the scheme is focusing on, because these are the most important figures that needs to be memorized when you are preparing for government schemes, because now the examination is near, so you will be revising a lot of schemes. But the most important thing here will be you have to see the key data. What are the targets that are being set up under these specific schemes? Because generally in the targets the students got confused. So here the target year is 2024-25. Only you have to remember these specific targets of economic value addition, fish production, and if I talk about enhancement income, so 55 lakh direct or indirect employments basically will be provided under this specific scheme. Then if I talk about the beneficiaries, so here it will say SC, ST, women, self-help groups, fisheries, fish farmers, so all these are basically the members here. Okay, financial outlays I've discussed, 20,050 crore financial outlays being given. If we furtherly bifurcate it, because now see, it is a 20,050 crores from which central sector contribution is around 1720 crores and rest is a contribution by the centrally sponsored schemes. इसका मतलब इतना पैसा जो है that will be given in the form of central, that is totally funded by center, and this 18,000 crores will be funded both by the center and state in some specific ratio. Then investment will be 750 crores. Rest guys, you can have a look at this scheme, because Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana question has been asked even in RBI also. So there is a high probability, because this scheme is being consistently seen in news. So there is a high probability that a question could be asked on this specific scheme in your NABARD paper. It might be in ARD or it might be in ESI, but the question could be asked on this specific scheme. So you have to cover this scheme very thoroughly. Now, the second scheme that was being talked about is FIDF scheme, that is the Fisheries and Aquaculture Infrastructure Development Fund scheme. Now I'll ask you a 3 statement on the question, that is it was launched in year 2018-19. Its main focus is on creation of fisheries infrastructure both at marine and inland fisheries. So this is something that you have to remember. Keyword: fisheries infrastructure, marine and inland fisheries. So these are the keywords here that needs to be focused. And the third point here is, if I talk about the eligibility. Now see, this will also help you in able to understand from which part of the scheme the question is being asked. First is the question from the launch year, second is from the aim or objective of a scheme. Third statement is basically on the eligibility of a scheme. So eligibility, 80% of actual cost. So these are the keywords that you have to focus in this specific question. Now if I talk about the answer here is that all these statements are correct about the FIDF scheme. So FIDF was launched in the year 2018. Objective क्या है? Modernization करनी है आपको fisheries infrastructure की, creation of marine aquaculture infrastructure, then post harvest losses, how you could reduce this post harvest losses. Now if we talk about the thing, funding is 7,552 crore rupees has basically been allocated for this FIDF scheme. Okay, employment opportunities, private investment is basically being created under the scheme. If I talk about the important thing in the scheme is the projects that are eligible under the scheme, they will get 80% of the estimated or actual project cost. So this is the important point that you have to remember in this specific scheme. Okay, rest there are some things that are being seen in news regarding the FIDF scheme. ठीक है जी, तो देखिए sustainable growth of 8 to 9% is basically being augmented under this specific scheme. ठीक है, concessional finance will be provided to eligible entities. ठीक है, which also include state government and UTs also. Now if I talk about how this infrastructure will be provided, it will be provided by NABARD, NCDC and all scheduled commercial banks. So here you can see from these three statements they can also frame a question that which agency will basically be providing you the finance under this specific scheme, that is NABARD. So this is the keyword here because NABARD से relate कर रहा है, तो there is a possibility they can ask a question on NABARD also. And if I talk about the Department of Fisheries will be providing an interest subsidy at up to 3% per annum. So interest subsidy is again important. Last but not the least is if I talk about loan lending period, it is 5 years from 2018-19 to 2022-23 and maximum repayment period is 12 years. 12 years inclusive of moratorium is in this 12 period, your 2 year of moratorium is also included here. And if I talk about implementing agency, it is NFID, that is National Fisheries Development Board, that is in Hyderabad. So this question is again important guys, because they might ask you a static question on this specific initiative. Simple इस agency के ऊपर ही question आ सकता है in your NABARD examination. So guys, this was all about the session. Now you have one homework. You have to tell me in the comment box about the Blue Revolution scheme. That is when it was launched, what are the targets that are being proposed under the Blue Revolution scheme. The targets under the scheme and when this scheme was launched, this is your homework. You have to tell me in the comment box about this specific scheme. So now we have covered the important things from NABARD perspective also. So in the upcoming session, we will be covering those specific topics in PIB also, which are very, very important for NABARD, ESI or in ERD. We will be covering that specific topics in your PIB sessions. So guys, this was all about the session. So if you guys have liked the session, kindly press the like button. You can also subscribe to the channel. Okay, ji. Then to get the access to the free materials that we are providing to you, you have to subscribe to the Telegram channel, the link for which is given in the description below. Now guys, a very important announcement for all the students, that is we are offering a flat 30% off plus an additional 20% off on all our courses, be it RBI, NABARD and SEBI Grade A. What we have to do is use the code EDUTAP and it is valid till 14th of July. So jaldi quickly avail the benefit that you guys can avail. Okay, this is a very important thing that you guys can avail in our courses. So guys, this was all about the session. Okay, ji, I hope you have enjoyed the session. You have learned a lot. Now your notification is out. So it's the best time to move into a sprint mode for your upcoming paper and try to revise all the important current affairs, all the important things that are relevant for your paper. Do revise it quickly. And if you haven't started, don't worry, start it from today onwards, because still the notification on the website will be there, but start preparing it from today itself. Okay, so wishing you all the best for your upcoming examination guys, and keep learning. Bye bye.